So just imagine for 1 second the forbidden door for AEW opens and there's a light. And then through the light, it ain't Joe Hendry, it's Shane McMahon. Miggity, miggity, Mac Daddy himself, Shane McMahon. What would you guys do? Shane McMahon showed up in the AEW, a McMahon in AEW. I don't know, man. I don't know. But we're here to talk about it. Let's talk about it, you guys. I'm Rob, the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling, all the time. This is the wrestling community for you. And we're going to talk today about the rumor and innuendo. And I'm not talking about the show with Dominic D'Angelo and Robert Karpelis Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock on Eastern on YouTube. I'm talking about the rumor and innuendo about Shane McMahon potentially walking through the doors of the AEW and showing up through the forbidden door. I mean, you can't get much more of a crossover than that. McMahon, the name, the family lineage, the legacy, forever synonymous with the WWE. We recently saw Vince McMahon give up all of his stock in the company that he was inherited from his father. It was the WWF with Vince Sr. and Vince Jr. took it and turned it into the WWF. It then later became the WWE, and now, for the first time since that entire run, it is no longer owned and operated by a McMahon. And now, a McMahon might walk through the first competition, the first real competition the WWE has had since WCW, and McMahon might walk through that door. Now, say what you will about the competitive aspects. I understand what you're saying. You might say, hey, Rob, dude, what about TNA? They came really close. They actually went head-to-head with the WWE in 2012. It was a Monday Night War, if you will. It was the Aces and Eights and Hulk Hogan. It was Bret Hart and Vince McMahon, and there was a duel, and they got within, a couple 100,000 or so of actually getting a tie there. I get what you're saying. This is the first time, as far as I'm going to say, and I'm impartial Marshall, that an actual billionaire is going up against the billion-dollar company. And it's been a while since we've seen that. And the last time we saw that, Ted Turner, billionaire Ted, as Vince McMahon liked to refer to him as, was in the full throes of the battle between Vince McMahon, and that was in the late 90s. And that is a story that we are all aware of, whether or not you lived through it like I did, or that you were watching it peripherally through documentaries and interviews and the alike. You know that story very well. And so the idea of having Shane McMahon show up in the AEW, and I'm going to tell you one thing, if they played that money, 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 money music, I swear to God, dude, like I know I might be unpopular, but I was not a fan of that music. So anything but that, they could play anything. Have them come out to, I don't know, a Def Rebel song or something. No, I'm just kidding. But Shane McMahon showing up in AEW, apparently that might be a possibility if you've read into any of the reports that have been out recently. I don't know. I mean, the guy is huge. In stature alone, he's huge. From a business sense, I think that he could give Tony Khan a lot of insight, a lot of information as far as how to run the AEW and also what the competition is all about. It led me to really start to think about this, and I'm going to really get my tinfoil hat on for a second, get Super X-Files, Word to Pro Wrestling Times, Phil Marks, but I'm going to get my tinfoil hat on, and I'm going to talk about the idea of Shane McMahon possibly having some tension between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, Like, I'm not sure, what their dynamic is, if there is even a dynamic there. They are family, and I'm not trying to dispout any rumors or disperse any rumors about them and whatnot, but I do find it very interesting. The last time we saw Shane McMahon, there was a reported backstage incident, a disagreement, if you will, some verbal exchange between Vince and Shane was gone, and we have not seen Shane since. And now that Vince is no longer in the company, we have not seen Shane. And you would think that there would be some kind of interaction, at least Shane showing up at WrestleMania 40 or something along those lines. You would think that you would see something of that sort. But alas, we have not seen him, and now there's a rumor of him possibly showing up in the the first real competition of the WWE since WCW. I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to read too much into it, but I have to speak about it. This is my opinion on what I've seen in the wrestling world, and I just have to speak on that. It is very interesting that we have not seen Shane McMahon in the WWE since, and it doesn't seem like there's any kind of like push to get him back on WWE television, or at least backstage in any way. Now, if he shows up in AEW, one of the things that I thought would be, he's going to tower over a lot of guys. I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just being honest. I'm being real. I'm keeping it one thou wow like K-Dog. He's a big dude, in stature, and him showing up, whether he's the money mark for the Bucks in the Elite, whether they give him the percentage of the EVP that it was originally supposed to go to Kenny Omega, and they turned this into a whole thing where it's Shane McMahon in the Elite against Tony Khan and AEW. I think that would be a fascinating story to me, and I've spoken about this before. I just don't know if it goes with the type of style that I think Tony Khan is trying to produce for the AEW. To me, it's counterproductive to do something like that, because to me, it reeks of sports entertainment, but I have no idea what Shane McMahon would bring to AEW versus what he has already brought to the WWE in the 30-plus years that he has been with the WWE. So I don't know how he would approach it. It's very similar to how I feel Mercedes Moné is being produced in the AEW. It is not working, in my opinion, because of the way that she is being produced, which is trying to produce her very similar to how she was produced in the WWE, even as far as the rumor having her writer from the WWE now at AEW helping to produce and direct some of her promos. Hey, if it works on the long run, maybe there's like a feeling out process, then I'm all for it. I'm not trying to downplay it, but what I'm saying is it's just not coming across the way that it should. Mercedes Moné, when she was Sasha Banks in NXT, there was nothing better. I mean, she was at her peak, in my opinion. Once she got to the WWE, I felt like there were a lot of hands in the cookie jar, and I feel that led to a lot of frustration with Sasha Banks and ultimately led to her leaving and going elsewhere. But that's just my opinion. So in AEW, I think that they just need to go, like Adam Copeland, for instance, is a great example. He is trying his hardest to distance himself from Edge, the Edge that he was in the WWE, by being Adam Copeland, even as far as to jumping off of a 15-foot high steel cage and breaking his leg. Hey, whatever you can to distance yourself, I get it. That's what he's trying to do. But that's something that I've noticed with AEW is they are the alternative. They are positioned as the alternative. And when you bring somebody into the WWE, it takes a while to really mesh and to really connect the way that it should. So it's going to be interesting if he does, Shane McMahon rather, if he does show up in the AEW and what he would actually bring to the table. I'm fascinated by it. I mean, we go all the way back to the mid-90s when Triple H showed up in the WWE. I would have never thought that Carl from Die Hard 88 looking motherfucker was going to be the guy that was running the creative in the WWE the way it is now. I always thought it was going to be bestowed or bequeathed to Shane McMahon in the long run, and now look where we're at. Vince owns nothing from the WWE, and Shane McMahon is looking to possibly go with the competitor, and going through the Forbidden Door with Shane McMahon would be interesting. The last time, you go back to March the 26th, 2002, was it? Or 2001? It was 2001, I believe. March the 26th, 2001, WCW Nitro and WWE Raw combined. Vince was buying WCW, and Shane McMahon came out on Nitro and said that he was running WCW Nitro. The contract said McMahon, but it didn't say Vince. It said Shane or something along those lines. It was a crazy moment in history, and now we might see Shane McMahon show up on another competitor's television program. Hey, it could be interesting. I'm all for it. Hey, I'm an open-minded guy. I think it's interesting. I don't know if he would really mesh in what Tony Khan and AEW is doing. to me, it would be nice if he was a liaison, if he was somebody that was backstage and kind of helping Tony Khan with running the daily operations, figuring things out as far as business goes. Shane's been doing a lot of international business outside of professional wrestling, so I'm sure he's got a lot of connections in that regard. That is something I could see, but as far as on-air talent, please keep him away from the ring because he's going to be wheezing like Ultimate Guerrero did at AEW Collision against Kazuchika Okada, and I don't want to see him all red-faced and all blown up that way, or blowing his quads out the way he did at WrestleMania 39. I think it was 39 or 38. Man, I don't want to see that Shane McMahon on television again. But a Shane McMahon, business Shane McMahon, and a business Shane McMahon that possibly works in an angle against Tony Khan, it could be interesting. I'm going to keep an open mind about that. But what do you guys think? Is Shane McMahon the right fit for AEW? Do you see him going to the AEW? Whoa. I mean, like, what do you guys think? You guys let me know in the comments. Leave a thumbs up on the way out. Don't forget, coming up probably right here, you're going to see, or over here, you can't see my fingers, but I'm pointing to the corners of the screen. You're going to see a video where I talk about never being to a wrestling event. And I mean that, an event, like a big event, like a pay-per-view and a PLE. And there's a huge announcement in regards to that up here somewhere. You can't see me pointing again, but I'm pointing. And as always, thank you again for subscribing. Thanks for following. Hit that notifications button to get informed of any of the new videos or big announcements that I'm going to have, because this channel is growing fast, and I want you to be up to date on all the information so you're not left behind. Thank you guys again. And wrestling fans, as always, you stay united, and I'll see you real soon.